into real estate. I joined a little after him. And that's when I discovered, all right, digital agency wasn't really for me. And then I started leaning more towards realtor side. And I
Right.
started planning my exit plan from moving to New York to Virginia. So I saved up, after I purchased the house right down here, I had probably about like 30,000 saved up for a realtor. And I also was making money from digital agency. I still do till this day,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like side money, right?
Yeah, just
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. My end goal is to get more investment properties.
exactly.
So, but yeah, so that's essentially what ended up happening. And when I moved down here, I knew I had to get on, like jumping on it right away. And I think it's important for new agents to determine what approach you're going to take and stick with it, right? So like I knew I had limited funds, so I really couldn't go all out on digital marketing, even though I learned a good amount from it, right? I did go a little, but you know, with any sort of advertisement, it takes time. You got to nurture the leads. I couldn't really dish out that money knowing that, hey, I only have a good amount available. I got mortgage, all that stuff. So I took the approach where I have all the time available in the world. So I'm just going to you have the decision between money or time, right? That's the way essentially at the end of the day, how you want to run your business, money or time. Now I'm at the point where I got both of them mixed in. But in the beginning, you just take that one path, and I didn't have that much money. So I just started going into prospecting.
Yes.
So I prospect on a daily basis. Till this day, I was just prospecting before I got on the phone with you. I'm up to like 150 calls today. You know, and essentially that's the path that I took, and that's where I work mainly with FSBOs, expireds, and as well absentee leads. And I also have Facebook ads running, right, and avid Google ads, YouTube ads, right, running as well for paid ads mainly on Facebook, right? But I know how to get the SEO part handle, all that too. So now I'm diving more into the side of using my money that I've earned to kind of build my business to the next level, such as hiring an assistant, right? Having systems in place so I can be able to handle more transactions essentially.
So it's funny you say that. A lot of people talk about like, you know, when do you make that jump to get more people? Like when do you hire, right? When do you delegate? When did you, like for me, I have a pretty large bandwidth. I could put in some work, but in order to scale past a certain limit, you've got to delegate and you've got to create a team. And I've learned that more than anything over the last year and a half. But you know, talk a little bit about like, you know, the process. Like, you know, when did you decide like, okay, I'm ready for the next scale point? Like before you get to there, like kind of talk about the stages. Like when you first started, did you get a CRM? Did you have a website? Who'd you join? Like, did you have a mentor? You know, stuff like that, right? Like, or were you just like flying by the seat of your pants? Like, talk a little bit about
No, man. You definitely need a mentor and coach in this industry, man. It's I have multiple, right? I have ones in different markets, right? I have a mentor that I look up to in New York. I got a mentor in Michigan, right? I got people in California, right? Like all sorts. I got some in Virginia that I chat with, right? And it's kind of meshing everything together. And I got a mentor assigned from eXp Realty, the brokerage I'm with, for the Virginia side. But you definitely, I highly recommend you get a coach or a mentor. My coach is Brandon, and then I have, you know, other coaches as well that Jeff Glover, right? Things like that I mesh in together. Not everything is going to be, you know, perfect for everybody. It's really a matter of discovering what can I take from there, what can I take from there, putting it all together. So, I
surround yourself with the people that you want to be around and learn from, not people that are, you know, not really doing anything, right? Like you're not going to grow if you're not hanging around people like that, right? So if you're new to owning a business, if you're new to entrepreneurship, if you're new to anything, we're talking real estate, but at the end of the day, this is mindset stuff we're talking about. This is for any business. Okay. You need to be surrounded by positive individuals that are ambitious and that want to help you grow and also growing themselves, right? That you can learn from, that you can also teach. It's a network. Your network is your network. We talk about that all the time. I spend a lot of time on this because, listen, we can show you how to market. We can show you how to generate leads. We can show you how to create a CRM and systems and show you how to follow up. But if you don't know how to keep that mind strong and wake up every single day and say, I've got to produce income for myself and my family, then all of that shit doesn't matter. You've got, and I'm being real right now, I'm spitting fire. Like you guys got to come every day with high energy and ready to put in work. If you want to succeed in a business. If you,
for sure, man.
People realize after a year or two, they're like, fuck this business stuff. I'm going back to work for somebody else.
Yeah, man. And to your question with when I decided to hire the assistant, right, it has to do with that as well. because one thing you'll learn is, with any sort of business and mainly with entrepreneurship, you can get complacent once you start making money, right?
Yes.
And my thinking was, after listening to multiple coaches, there were certain ones that were like, don't hire until you're doing 50 transactions a year. And I got many more coaches that were saying, hey, just hire an assistant, because what that's going to do is kind of force you to keep the ball rolling. Because now I'm paying an assistant and I know, hey, in order to keep paying her, I got to keep getting in more business, right?
Yeah.
So that was another reason for me to, because people say, hey, I want to close 50 deals, 100 deals, right? But realistically, once you start running into that and you're in the fire, you're like, shit, I don't have the systems in place to really get to that point, right? So that's the part where I decided, all right, I'm going to hire an assistant to take me to the next level, because even myself, I'm disciplined for the most part, but I can get, I'm like any other human, that once you start seeing money come in, get a little more comfortable, take the foot off the gas, because everything that I do on a daily basis, such as getting on the phones, right, getting cursed at, people telling me they're interested, and next thing you know, a week later, they're not interested, right?
Yep.
These are things that you don't want to do, and you kind of have to force yourself to do it. So like, if you get to a place where you're making, like $40,000, like that's like the most money I've ever seen in, in 1 month, like that amount, it's like, shit, you start like relaxing back a little. So getting that assistant kind of puts you in the place where it's like, all right, you got to constantly keep paying this person on a weekly basis. So go out and get more business.
That's a good point. And another point to have an assistant and just having a team is understanding where you are the strongest.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to be doing transactional work. Do you need to be doing buyer agreements? Do you need to be doing listing paperwork? Do you need to be sending out contracts, picking up checks from title companies, doing all these different tasks that don't help you move the needle forward fast, right? Like those things are time consuming. And to be honest, if you paid somebody 10 to 20 bucks an hour to do it, it will allow you to free up more time to be able to make $2, $3, $4, $50, $60,000 on another commission, because now you're able to go show another house, right? Like, so it goes back to that limiting belief. Like, don't worry about that little bit that you're spending on that VA or whoever you got. Focus on what it can make you by you now having that time freed up to be able to go spend it on something else.
Yeah,
right?
it's what you're talking about is opportunity cost, which is a huge
cost. Like,
it's a huge thing, being able to actually determine that, knowing how much you're worth, and any tasks that's under a certain amount, you dish it off to somebody else. Putting up signs. I used to put up signs, and then I discovered it takes me, depending on the areas that, it could be an hour out or not. But of course, these are things that you do in the beginning. As a new agent, I had time in the world, so I would just go do it. Now I've got, now I don't have as much time, and it's important for me to use time efficiently, having people that can install signs, remove signs, that can put up lock boxes for me, hang up writers, things like that, assistant that's handling, pretty much the transaction coordination, whatnot. So this way you can focus on more of the money-making activities, such as prospecting, right? It's either you're looking for an appointment or you're on an appointment. That's literally it at the end of the day. So
making appointments, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
So let me pause for a second. If you guys are just tuning in, thank you guys so much. Demetrius, Alexis, there's a few other people. Thank you guys so much. We're talking with Tein here, top realtor out of Virginia. He's talking about what works for him in his business, right? Like, we're talking a lot about mindset right now, but we're about to transition over to systems, because once you have your mindset strong, you're starting to produce deals. Okay, now you're getting to a point where you're so busy, you can't do everything on your own anymore. In order to scale to the next level, we got to have systems, we've got to have tracking, we got to have reporting. Let's talk a little bit about that. Right. Yeah, so comment below if you guys are finding this value. Give me some hearts, some love. This live's for you guys. All right. So if you guys have any questions for Tein or myself, I'm watching the phone over here on the side here. Tein, can you see comments on your side?
I'm on your page. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop it down below. I don't mind answering at all. Trying to help out as much as I can.
Wendy's a new agent. She was fired up about this. She wanted to learn from you because she's a new agent, and anything that she could learn is valuable to her. So
who is that?
Wendy. She's tuning in right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So let's talk about systems. Now you're with eXp Realty, so they have KV Core, correct?
Yep, KV Core.
Is that what you use, or do you have your own?
I'm still working out the kinks, man. So I use Mojo for my dialing, and I don't know if you've ever been inside Mojo, but
I've been in all of them.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, and I personally it's a lot easier to use than KV Core. So I have Zapier set up between the two of them. So it's somewhat of a mess on that standpoint, but I work mainly through Mojo.
and I always say, listen, the best CRM is the one that you use, right? So
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
comfortable with Mojo and you're leaving your notes in there, and you know what's going on in your business, and you can track your reporting, then that's tracking. That's good enough for you. Now, the only problem with that is it's not a problem. You can systemize it, but the idea is once you get assistance and stuff, you're going to want to systemize that.
yeah,
So you need to create a standard operating procedure that's essentially the minimal, something minimal that you do without having to be you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um,
CRMs are great, man. KV Core is definitely great too, but I prefer the Mojo because I'm always down and out of that. All the contacts, they sync between the two anyways. But I have a mentor that uses paper still. So, and he closed like 100 deals. And I have one in New York that closes 200 something deals, and he sent me his CRM, and it's literally a freaking
well,
stack
you
of
tell that guy with the papers to call me because data is the new gold. Okay. So we need to get that online, and we need to get that into a CRM because
yeah, man.
in 10 years, that ain't going to matter anymore. He's going to have to put it he's going to have to put it somewhere. Tell him to reach out to me. Listen to me. I'm always trying to get their data, right? Like,
yeah, man. For any of the new agents in here, data is definitely important. Keep track because in the beginning, when I first started here in Virginia, I had Facebook ads running. I had seller leads come through, and I effed up on the follow-ups. And down the road when I have more time going through all my leads, I followed up with these people, and they actually ended up listing. So it was like more people that I could have had if I had the right follow-up systems in place. Now I have a weekly follow-up. Every Monday, I go through my follow-up folders, and then I use my CRM to assign me for when to follow up. I have a bunch of people I need to follow up in January when their lease is over, things like that, right?
Yes.
So don't make sure you don't drop the ball on that because I can tell you right now probably about 2 to 4 people that I've lost.
That's a lot of deals, bro.
Yeah, man. They were like $300,000 listings too, and they just weren't ready to list at that time, but they ended up listing.
That's
within that year.
Okay, so you dropped on the ball there.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And he's young, he's hungry, right? We all drop the ball, right? We all lose money, but that's why it's important to create systems and operating procedures and tracking so you don't lose dollars like that. That's big cash right there. All right.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between being like a $15 million agent and a $20 million gold star agent. Like those are big number differences, right? Cool, man. Marco says, love the mindset. Marco's from New Jersey. He's also a real estate agent.
Nice, man.
Crushing it.
Yeah. Real estate is awesome, man. For any of the new agents out there, there is so much potential out there. I wish I got into it sooner.
So whether you're running paid ads or you're running, like if you're doing an open house and you're collecting at any point, if you're collecting cards or information from a lead, make sure you go into your CRM and store that information. Name, email, and phone number minimum. And please try to put as detailed described notes as possible about the conversation that you had with that person. Because like Tein said, he called him back. I don't know how long ago. It was like 8 months after or something. How long was it?
Yeah, something like that. They ended up listing.
You probably didn't remember the details unless you wrote notes on that, right?
Yeah.
I'm
still following up with that lady. I'm still following up that lady because she ended up listing for 6 months and it expired. And
I bet
unfortunately, she had a terrible experience with that realtor now. So it's like, damn, I could have had it in the first one. So whatever.
But you live and you learn. So take this as a lesson for everyone watching, right? Like, sorry, you're the guinea pig today, but we all make these mistakes. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But we learn from them, and you track it in your system so you know where the bottleneck is happening. Yeah. It goes back to like when you get so much business and you're like, okay, where am I losing? Well, it's because I'm spending hours on doing transactional work. All right, time to delegate. That's our bottleneck that we have identified in our business. But unless you have reporting to be able to track that and your time and all that shit, then you won't be able to see that, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to guess what it might be. You're like, oh, well, maybe it's because I have taken too many bullshit listing appointments. And really, it's not that. You need to be taking more of those. It's because you're spending too much time over here, right? Yeah. So really block out your time in like 15 minutes. It's really good stuff. That's what I do. I have a to-do list. I have checklists, daily checklist, team stuff. It's crazy, but it's fun. It's my business, and I'm sure you enjoy the rush, right? Like, you don't have to go back to what you said, the W-2, right? That's what I asked people. I said, what do you guys, like, what's the number one reason why you want to be a business owner? And about 90% of them said freedom, okay? Freedom. So, yes, we have a lot of stress and anxiety probably from our businesses, but at the end of the day, if you wanted to take a day off tomorrow for the next 3 or 4 days, you could do it and no one's going to call you, okay? Like, it might affect your business, but the freedom is there. And ultimately you're going to get to a point where you could step out of the business and not be an employee, right? The CEO role. So you got to hustle your ass off to get to that point. But in the meantime, don't, live a little, you know what I'm saying? Especially with COVID going on. That's what I've been traveling a lot too, like the last few months, because the marketing company is doing really well. And the things are going on with all the shit and the politics and everything. I just want to travel because you never know, bro. You never know. Like we might be locked down again. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to live our lives because you never know. But good stuff there. Thank you so much, Tein. If anybody want to comment below, if they have any questions for Tein, system CRMs, right? Talk about, you do some YouTube stuff as well?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I do YouTube. So I'm actually gonna be posting a video right after this. But I'm just diving into that now. But I think in the beginning, if you're a new agent, you need to determine which way you're gonna go, whether it's spending money or putting in time, right? And I went with the spending time route. And essentially, you need to have a strict schedule. So like, one of the things about being being a entrepreneur and working for yourself is you don't have anyone to hold you accountable.
Yes.
I'm trying to find this timesheet. What the heck did I have it? But you don't have anyone holding you accountable. So what ends up happening is essentially you'll have the days, and it's really important you put yourself in the mindset of, if I had, my significant other or somebody special to me watching me throughout the entire day, would they be proud of what I've worked on, right?
Right.
And as an entrepreneur, people can say, oh, I don't have all the time in the world, but I can tell you right now, I slack too every now and then. It's really a matter of getting yourself back on track of, all right, I got to be prospecting. So I prospect from about 8 to 11. So 11 to 12, I'll do my follow-up phone calls. And then after 3 o'clock is usually appointments. But if I don't have any appointments, I'm looking for an appointment, right? And that's like the mentality that you need to have, is either you're on an appointment or looking for an appointment. And you need to determine what's your moneymaker, what's your lead sources, right? Like, so most of my transactions came through FSBOs. So I know now I need to double down on that with, marketing aspect, whatever the case is. I need to get myself in front of more FSBOs. I've, gotten really good at that. Another thing that I'm getting really good with is absentee leads. So it's really a matter of knowing that you just got to be on the phones looking for an appointment or on an appointment. And it's a numbers game at the end of the day, right? It's like, how can you expect to be closing 3 to 4 deals a month if you're not on the phones or talking to people? Like my average phone call a month is about 3,000 something phone calls, right? It takes me about 300 to something contacts, 300 to 400 contacts to get me to 3 to 4 listings a month. And, if you know the numbers, then you trust the process a little more.
Exactly.
What ends up happening is agents try, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then you just see nowhere, because if you draw it out, you're literally not getting as far, right? Versus me, where I'm just focusing on one thing and just going all the way up.
Yes.
Like all my energy is focused on prospecting.
Yeah.
And, that's really it at the end of the day, man.
Yeah, a lot of it too is the activities and the things they purchase. So I have a lot of agents come to me and they have like 6 different systems. They all acting individually. They don't tie together. And then they're doing multiple different activities and they don't know what's making them the most money. Like now I have really good agents that know exactly where their leads are coming from and what's closing on what day and where it came from. Those people are doing 40 deals a year on their own, right? Like on their own with no team. So
everything works, man. I mean, like even Facebook ads, for example, like it works. Like it's just a matter of staying consistent. And what ends up happening is agents will go on Facebook ads, right? Have an ad agency set it up, whatever, and they'll last 2-3 months and then just completely give up. But meanwhile, they're forgetting, like as I just mentioned before, like I had ads running and those leads could have turned into listings, and I know they could have because I followed up with them too late and they listed and sold, right? Or either purchased. It's really a matter of staying consistent. And I came to realize in this industry, literally everything works, man. I've picked up a listing from open house. I've picked up a listing from door knocking. I've picked up a listing from Facebook ads. I've picked up a listing from, literally cold calling. It's all about, just doing it consistently. And there's a huge thing like that I believe in. It's like a face-to-face changes everything, right? When you're a realtor and you get on the phone with an expired or FSBO, they may be nasty on the phone, but once you actually get, once you actually get to meet them face to face, the whole vibe changes.
They let their guard down. Yeah.
Yep, they put the guard down. So one thing I focus on is just getting face to face. And not, everyone has a different approach. It works for certain people. I know my brother uses the old school methods, which is essentially closing on the phone and trying to get them to list on the phone. I have a different approach, which is essentially, let me just get face to face with you. And then from that face to face turns into something else, right? Obviously it takes a little more effort and energy to, drive to places and whatnot. And it's more of nurturing, right? They're just showing face to face. Once you meet face to face, that people can see you're another human being, right? You're not just a sleazy salesman. You're another human being that's trying to help people out.
Let's talk about that process, right? When you're cold calling, you call a lot of fucking calls, right? So like you've heard it all, I'm sure, right? Like how do you overcome and become the differentiator in your market to get that appointment, right? Like what do you say that's different?
I mean, with FSBOs, it's a different approach. Actually, it's not really different.
Did you build your own script, or do you have?
No, I got it from my coach, Brandon Mulrenan.
Okay.
He's got this program called FSBO Domination.
Okay.
It's really good. It's pretty exclusive now because the price is pretty drastically different from other programs. So he made it that way. So only people that are super committed will purchase it. But yeah, FSBO Domination. That's where I got the scripts. But essentially, now that I'm coming to learn about it more, like I'm getting more experience. In the beginning, you definitely need some sort of framework to get you through it. And even till this day, I have my scripts right here. I have my expired script here. I have my FSBO script here, right? But I go off script a lot.
All the time. You got to freeflow it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I met with the builder yesterday, listing presentation, and I had a whole presentation, my usual presentation in mind, and we completely went off script. And it was a good thing that we went off script because I ended up getting 2 new listings. And then he's also giving me a shot to pretty much replace the realtor he's currently using.
Love it.
Right. But all of that happened because I just literally just followed my gut and was like, all right, this guy, he's the type of personality he is. He wants to just get straight to the business, go to the numbers, right, and see what I do differently. So that's essentially what we did.
So use the script as an outline. It's basically what he's saying. Use an outline, but be able to pivot, right? Be a good person. Be able to just have conversations with people. People don't want to be sold. They want to be helped. I tell this to my callers. I tell it to my agents. I tell it to everyone, right?
Yeah.
You got to come and you got to help people. Don't be selling people. Get off that script. Use the script as a framework so you don't forget that you have to ask specific questions to get to the ultimate end game. And that's booking the appointment or scheduling a call or sending out a list of homes or sending information on a property or whatever. We're getting them pre-approved, right? You got to get them through the cycle.
So. Yeah. And I noticed as I do this more, all these scripts are pretty much exactly the same, to be quite honest with you. So it's like, when I get on these phone calls, it's more like, and you can only get so many different replies, right? You can only get so many different ways for somebody to say fuck off. You can only get somebody, like there's only so many rebuttals that you can honestly get. I know every rebuttal that a for sale by owner can possibly give me. I'm pretty sure I ran into every single one. I've ran into every rebuttal expired can give me, right? There's only so many limited ways. And it's really a matter of, and the reason I bring that up is because people think it's the script, but it's not. It's really I can have you calling the same FSBO because I know there's other people in my area using the same script as me.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then I'll end up getting the listing, or they'll get another listing that I don't end up getting, right? And it all has to do with the person, right? Because there's that human connection that you can't really teach, right? It's really a matter of the human connection. Whether if I may not click with that person that they just picked up, right? And I feel like I did, but realistically, they just did a better job clicking. And it's important that you get the feedback, right? So this way you can determine. Yeah. So like anytime I lose a listing, I'll try to find out, was it a price or was it a commission? So in this way I know, all right, I really couldn't have done anything because that guy won 1%, and I really can't do the 1%, right? Or if it's they found out that the other person has more experience, and then this way I can get a better idea. Okay, I can go back to them with this if they haven't signed the documents yet, right? So it's always important that whenever you lose a listing, you try to find out what the reason was, because at the end of the day, it's better than, it's a hot market right now. So I'm running into a lot of for sale by owners right now that are selling on their own. It's a much better feeling for me finding out that I did everything possible, right? Than instead of them selling on their own, it's like, oh shit, I had no chance at all. So there's really no way of improving that if I'm going out.
You got to get a baseline, right? You got to understand kind of where you're winning, where you're losing, where you're bottlenecking. That goes back to what I was saying, right? And the only way to determine that is to get feedback. So that's powerful. So how do you get feedback? What's the way that you do that, right? Do you?
I'll just give them a call, man. I'll just give them a call. If literally, it'll be almost as if I'm hounding them down for the actual service still, because if I lose a listing and I did everything I possibly could, I want to know what the hell that made them pick out the realtor, right? It gets me thinking like, what can I change up? So I'll reach out like, hey, well, let's just say you just told me, hey, we end up hiring another realtor. All right, hey, no problem at all. I can completely understand that. If you don't mind me asking, any specific reason on why you may have chose the other realtor over my services?
Yeah.
Just dead silence. Give them. Some people will give you the answer. And you'll be able to tell certain people a line or whatnot. But then they're like, oh, nothing specific, really. Well, I mean, there has to be something. Was it a commission? Was it something I did? And then like, all right, now that you bring it up, they were a little less on the commission standpoint, right? Things like that. And that's where I get the feedback. If I can't get it over the phone, I'll hound them down via email. And I'll see some people will actually end up replying via email because a lot of people don't like confrontation. So, at the end of the day, that's just, you have to know that as well, right? Like I was just talking to one of my mentees this morning, and he hasn't heard back from his appointment from this Friday, listing appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he hasn't told me no. He was super nice. So more than likely the person's super nice. He doesn't want to be confrontational because he doesn't want to list right now. Just make sure you put him in your pipeline to follow up in every other week or so.
Yes.
Because that's just the reality. Some people don't like confrontation at all.
Yeah. But put them in follow-up, because just because they didn't pick you don't mean that they ain't going to expire in 30 days or that other agent's going to drop their ball. There's a lot of mediocre agents out here. A lot of people that talk a lot of game but don't produce. All right.
Yeah.
I call it the 3 Ps, and I stole this from Brandon Rhymes, one of my old mentors. They call the 3 Ps. They put it on the MLS. They put their feet up and they pray. That's what most agents do. Okay. They hope that a solid agent's going to bring the buyer to them, and they're just going to get a commission and do the buy and seller side stuff. Right. It's not that hard to, produce and be the best person you can be, because really you're the only competition you have.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I got one, perfect example, dude. There's so many ways to get business. Like this one person, he ended up picking another agent over me, and they ended up going into escrow and it didn't appraise. And the other agent he kind of messed up on the whole process. Has never done an appeal on an appraisal, whatnot. Messed up. The guy ended up firing him. The contract fell apart. The guy reached out to me, and pretty much we're under contract again. And this time around, I know where they fucked up on the first time. I'm literally going in there correcting, because there's certain ways you can fight appraisals, right? And I know the other agent didn't do any of it, unfortunately. So now I just went in, and if this deal closes, I'm going to look like a hero, and he's always going to remember me, right? But that's like another example. I lost that listing. I got the feedback from the guy. The other guy, he ended up choosing the other guy because he just felt more comfortable with him. Like, all right. So, I mean, there's only and he also wanted 2% commission at the time, and I wasn't doing 2%. So I told him, no, I can't. I remember it now, but yeah, now I ended up doing it because I know the house is going to sell relatively quick.
What have you found has been the biggest reason why you've not got listings? Has it been mostly about the money? I mean, the commission mainly, or is it something else? I mean, have you found any trends?
Repeat that.
What's like the main reason you found, like based on your feedback that you receive, on why you haven't got the listing? Have you had any trends? Like, is it more like commission, or is it more like services? What are they looking for that you didn't have, essentially?
So I've lost listings before because lack of follow-up was one. I've lost listings before because of commissions. I've lost listings before for, I mean, anything you could think of, right? I've lost listings for, they like the other person.
So pause for a second. You see, his only competition. It wasn't because of the other person. It's because he didn't follow up, right? And I'm just showing you an example, because that's the reality of it, guys. Like, you are your biggest competition. Like, he lost deals based on just certain things. Like, he also won a lot of shit because of what he's done, but a lot of people want to focus on the wins. Let's focus on the things that we lost so we don't lose anymore and keep winning, right? Like, so it's good that you identified that.
Yeah, man, people forget that you're not the only realtor that they're talking to. And I learned that. That was like one of my first, I think I was probably like 9, 10 transactions.
And nobody cares what you did for the previous seller. It's about what you do for me now. How are you going to communicate with me today, tomorrow? Who's going to be the most top of mind? Who's going to provide me the most value and the most service? In today's digital age, the digital realtor, my friend, everybody wants everything instantly, right? Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, I've lost listings. On my follow-up Monday, they ended up listing with the agent Sunday, and I last spoke to them that Tuesday, and I asked them anything I could have done differently. They're like, no, we actually loved it. Just the lady just came in on at perfect timing. And,
I mean, baby.
Yeah, but if I followed up with them, what's up?
How much do you follow up with a lead before you say, all right, I give up on it? Like,
honestly, it's until they tell me to fuck off almost.
Yeah, exactly. That's
That's
exactly
about
right.
it, because I came to learn most people won't remember anyways, even if they tell me to fuck off. And so like expires, for example, if I'll get a ton of expires telling me to fuck off, but essentially I didn't have any conversation with them, and I know that they still own the home, because my question is, hey, is that home still available? They're like, yes, but we're not interested. Please stop calling us.
You
Just
got
to
to
hang up.
overcome it.
And
Yeah.
I throw them actually in the follow-up folder for a couple months down the road, because I know they still own the home. And you just catch people in bad mood. That's all it is at the end of the day. So like maybe I'm putting too much effort into it, but the way I look at it is like, it doesn't hurt. I'm just gonna follow up. I'm calling anyways.
You have nothing to lose in
Yeah.
every game. What is the worst that's going to happen? They say no and block you. Okay, have a
Yeah.
nice day, sir. Next, like,
Exactly.
obviously, don't call DNC numbers and don't get violations. Remain ethical.
That was
I'm not
another thing I
saying
was
like
gonna
do
bring up.
unethical things. I'm talking to the audience. I'm not talking about you, Tein. But I'm saying like everybody knows we're all licensed realtor. I'm a realtor myself. We've got ethics and principles and values we've got to follow, and just as a person, right? So, don't call any DNCs. You will get fined $10,000.
I actually had one lady hound me down because I was following up too much, and she was on the DNC, and she eventually picked up and was literally trying to track down everything about me.
See, yeah,
it was a little nerve-wracking.
yeah. Be careful because you get lit
we
up.
got a couple of questions, Mark.
Oh, cool. Let's see what we got.
You got Marco asking, do you sell the service or sell yourself through connecting with people? That's a good question, Marco. I sell a combination of both. So it really, that's where you need to learn people's disc personalities and essentially who you're working with, right? I've had people that or just data analytic people, and all they care about is numbers. Yesterday, for example, I knew he was a data analytic guy just by the way that I found out he was a builder and he's done many transactions. So I'm like, all right, he cares more about numbers than anything, because he has a realtor he works with already. So right off the bat, we just jumped into numbers, and I wanted to see where the other realtor was messing up. And I essentially came in. I was like, all right, well, if I could do all this that the other realtor didn't, and I'll take it at this commission, would you give me the opportunity? So yeah, of course, done. But it's a combo of both, Marco. It depends on the people you're working with. Certain people will literally just work with you because they like you, which I've had before. And then certain people will work with you because they like the service that you offer, right?
Right. Because a lot of realtors offer a lot of the similar stuff, unless you have like, publicity teams and, TV shows and shit. Most of it's really very similar unless you have a solid follow-up team. That's the main differentiator between, because if you're a top agent, you're running $2,000 in Zillow ads, but you're pumping in leads. And then this guy's doing the exact same thing, pumping in the same amount of leads. It's going to come down to who's going to convert them faster. It comes down to follow-up. So that's the big differentiator I see. In addition to obviously people that want to hustle, you got to be a worker, right? Like I'm talking about the top percent that, what's the difference is. It's the fuckers that got the best follow-up systems, the hustlers, right? That spend the money, that keep reinvesting in their teams and their systems. Those are the ones that win. But Tein, that's a great question. Sell yourself, right? But also sell your services. But you kind of feel, and it's all about really understanding who you're talking with. Tonality of the call, tonality of the meeting, how you control the way in which the meeting goes, right? Sell or be sold. Grant Cardone taught me that years ago, right? Are you going to control the way this call goes? Or are you going to let them convince you on why you don't need, or why they don't need to list with you, right? Like sell or be sold, bro. Like you got to eat. You have a valuable product that is valuable to the marketplace. You have results to show that, and you'll be a great asset to help them. It's not really sales. It's more like, here's my value. It's a trade. It's a trade, right?
And if you're a new agent out there, right, that has 0 transactions, that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, right? Because everyone starts somewhere. So like when I was new here, I didn't know anyone. I was new to town. So like the first listing I got was essentially, it came down to me versus another experienced agent. And they pretty much asked me like, hey, they told me straight up, I was like, hey, we're interviewing another agent. And I just want to know, is there anything specific that you want us to consider? And I was like, all right, well, if you don't mind me asking, who's the agent? Found out the agent's name. And, this was all through text. And then eventually I went to the listing presentation. But the selling point for me as a new agent, the selling point for a new agent is you have all the time in the world to literally treat that listing like gold, right? Treat that client like gold, whatever it is. That's the advantage that you have over someone that's more experienced, right? Because at the end of the day, the way I worded to them was, hey, look, I see that the other agent has sold over 100 plus homes, right? But have you considered this? He has about like 12 active listings right now at the moment. how much attention do you think he'll give to yours? And they're like, oh, that's actually a good question. Let me find out. And I was like, the only reason I'm bringing that up is, as you guys are aware, I'm a new agent. I just moved over here from New York. And all I'm asking for is that one opportunity to give me the shot, essentially, because I know at the end of the day, with the time I have available, I'm going to put all my energy and focus on getting this home sold for you. And essentially, they're like, "Wow, okay." And then like, do you guys trust me? And they're like, "Yes." All right, perfect. When do you, let me go ahead and book a photographer. Monday, good?
Get it
I'm
rolling,
done.
baby, and that's it. Go for the close. Like,
Yep.
that's it. Stop selling, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
I love it, man. Thank you, Tein, for sharing all these great ideas. Let us see if we get any more. Wendy, thank you so much. She says you are your only competition. Love that statement.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for tuning in.
Any other questions, guys?
Any other questions? We've got a few more minutes here. We get to spare. Tein's got some more prospecting to do. I'm sure he's got some appointments to book. Do you text a lot of your prospects? Like, I know that a lot of those are lists. A lot of them are home phones. Are you seeing a lot more cell phones popping in those lists these days?
Yeah, I have Google Voice, so it's relatively easy for me to text people. So I do text.
Explain that.
I'll make a phone call, and then if I don't answer, I literally have a copy paste and just literally send them through Google Voice. Hey, this is Tein. I saw your home came off the market. Depending on whatever the lead source is. And yeah, I do text. I don't have any sort of Mojo doesn't have any text campaigns. KV Core does. But so like that's like the one thing I know I can improve on is drip campaigns for texting. But I have systems right now that I'm putting into place for essentially postcards, sending out mailers to people I've established relationship with. So I'm using a service called Banner Season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Banner Season. So I have it costs me about 30 cents per postcard they send out. So throughout your prospecting, like my pipeline's getting bigger and bigger every single day. And it's important that I stay in front of these people, and I do that through mailers, my follow-up phone calls, and as well texting, just checking in, seeing what I can do to help. And it's really a matter of touching them everywhere you can, including Facebook ads. So I create a custom audience, throw the people in there. So like these are things that I've learned through your programs, right? And
yeah. So the custom audiences, let's stress about that, because the things you're doing are wonderful. But that's one aspect. If you can take that, and I taught you this, and you're about to talk about that, is to take that and create another digital form of it by creating a custom audiences from that same email and same addresses, the same phone numbers, and putting them to a video online and retargeting that. Talk about how you do that. Do you do that with sellers? Do you do it with buyers? Do you use the listing that you get from that and then create an ad for it to promote for your sellers? Talk a little about your dynamic of your marketing.
Yeah, so the ads that I had running, I paused it for the time being. I have just listed ads running right now. But essentially what it is an evergreen video campaign, right? A video campaign where I'm talking about tips to increase home value, right? A thumbnail that's pretty much designed for sellers because I prefer to work with sellers.
Yep.
So pretty much that's targeting sellers, and I retarget the people that's watched the video, and as well anybody that's in my custom audience with my other campaigns, right? And it's really just showing presence all online, and as well they're getting my mailers, they're getting my phone call,
all of it,
and texting. Just trying to, because again, it's really trying to come from all aspects, because you got to remember you're not the only agent that is calling and establishing relationships, right? Like they may have gave me the email address, but they probably gave that email address to 3-4 other agents. Now it's really a matter of who's got the better follow-up game and who's going to be there when they're ready to sell or purchase, right? So that's why you do all sorts of different campaigns, because of the fact that I know I'm competing against other agents. And I believe that if they see that I put my own money up front to send the mailers, for my ads to show up on their Facebook, right? My time to call them on a monthly basis, right? Whatever the follow-up is, it goes to show.
You're not willing to invest in your business and yourself. Do not expect your clients to invest in you. Clear today. And they can see that. They're going to search you. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look at your social media. They're going to look at your phone number. Some people pull background checks. You know what I mean? Like if you're dealing with like 3, 4, 5, $10 million listings, they're doing a full background check on you before they let you in the house. All right.
Yeah.
So, have your shit in line and be ready to roll. Right. And if you don't have certain things, be able to pivot accordingly. Right. Like be able to think quickly on your feet in this day and age. That's winning. Like people that can pivot and that are not script based. They're not just like, robotic, right? People don't want to be sold. They don't want to be feeling like they're dealing with computers. They just want to be talked to as people.
Yeah.
Especially in the
And
whole buying and selling process. This is one of the largest processes or the largest purchases of most people's living existence. So, you know, they don't want to be sold through it. They don't want to be rushed through it. They want to be helped through it and understand the process, whether you're a buyer, a seller, investor, renter, you know, wholesaler.
yeah, and
Do you
it's
do anything
important.
with buyers? Or do you just mainly sellers?
I do work with buyers, but I don't like go out hunting for buyers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the buyers just come along with my listings, man.
exactly.
That's literally it at the end of the day because I run the ads and then I'll have people call me through the ads I got running, and it's really a matter of I go for the listings and I get the buyers through the ads, and you
And
know,
some people that way. Some people want to go after listings and be a heavy listing agent, and the buyers come and maybe they hand them off. Some people love working with buyers. They love working with first-time homers. I don't want to work with listings, right?
yeah,
Um, a lot of it too is easy pickings. It's probably a lot easier for a lot of new agents to get buyers faster than
yeah,
listings. So they work with buyers more so. So listen, go with whatever you feel comfortable with. This is what Tein has been successful in the little bit of time that he spent in his new market. You can do the same thing, but make your own approach. Do your own marketing strategy, your own plan, get your own systems, and get started doing it. That's the key. You got to get started. And you got to get started today, moving the needle forward just a little bit each day. You're not going to get it all done today. All right.
one
Thank
second.
you guys for tuning in. Let's see if we got any questions here.
Here it is. I was trying to look for this, but here it is. I mean, you got to have a schedule, man. I mean, this is my prospecting schedule. Right. That's literally the outline of what my day looks like. And from lunch and on is pretty much appointments, or if I'm just constantly looking for more appointments.
So
But
if you would be cool with that, I mean, would you mind sharing that with a group? Like if we, you know, like a little link, maybe like a screenshot, we can, and they can
yeah,
like,
yeah, I have a PDF. I actually, this is from a YouTube channel. And I just took a screenshot. This is my coach's YouTube channel. And then, you know, as well, these are the numbers I need to hit 100 listings.
see that? You got to know your numbers and you got to reverse engineer backwards and to how to
Yeah,
get to it, right? So
yeah.
that's powerful shit. You got to visualize your wins, baby. I love
Yeah.
it, man. I love it.
Yeah, man. And then to go back to you saying like, the buyers are easy. It's definitely the case with that. Like, right. I, the listing side, that's another thing that you have to get over mentally because the listing side, it's almost a constant losing battle, like a losing battle almost every single day. But then everything's harder up front and then gets easier on the back end, right? That's how it is on the listing side. With the buyer side, everything's super easy up front, but more difficult on the backside, going out to show, more time consuming, having to go show multiple houses, whatever the case is, especially in this market. I know a ton of, all my listings, we get multiple offers. I feel terrible for the buyer that's literally given $10,000-15,000 over asking, and I still can't get it ratified because someone came in with a better offer. So it's
Crazy,
like,
bro. The market's
yeah,
nuts right now. There's like 10, 15 offers in the first 3 days, all over ask, all appraising right at that number. It's insane.
yeah, man. And
You don't know how long it's going to last, though. I mean, get it while they're getting good, everybody. I'm seeing Facebook ads popping faster than ever before. I'm seeing, all types of different things, working right now. Talk a little bit. We got a little bit more time. Talk a little bit about like your YouTube channel. Now, you just recently started that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just recently started that. My whole concept that, I just recorded a video this past week. But my whole concept with that is just trying another channel where, the subscribers, I'm targeting more like local people to subscribe to my channel.
Yep.
Right. So this way I have my own audience there. And then I send out that video to my database, through market updates. So this past weekend, I just recorded a video. It's a new series that I'm coming out with called Brews and Real Estate, essentially. Okay. And so I was covering, I'm going to have agents from other states and whatnot, other cities. And essentially, we're going to be trying out new drinks on Zoom, whatever the case is. And then we're going over the market. So this past weekend, I recorded a video of me drinking some beer. And it's a little different concept I'm going for, right? Like on a daily basis, I'm professional, suited up when I go up appointments, whatnot, right? And that concept I'm going with the videos is to show a more personal side of me, right? Things outside of, but at the same time, put in real estate, like kind of mesh it together,
Yeah. So, topic related, because one thing I learned from my mentor when you're launching a YouTube channel is you don't want to put like travel mixed in with like your topics because it'll mess up the it'll mess up the YouTube algorithm based on what people are searching for. So if your page has got like travel videos with your family and then you've got topics on how to generate leads in real estate, the algorithm's going to get screwed up. And if you're looking for organic stuff, this is just a tip I learned. So I would use it for yourself is to keep it really niched out on your YouTube. But the cool thing about having like a YouTube channel, a business page, a group is when you're talking to people, when you're prospecting and they don't believe a damn thing you're saying, say, you know what, sir, no worries. Check out my free group. Check out my Facebook group. Check out my YouTube page. Check out everything I got. And let's set another follow-up in 3 hours. Or I'll set it up for like the next day and literally I'll get called like 3 hours later. All right, we're ready to roll. Like that's all it takes. They just need to get validation. Third-party validation so they can know, like, and trust you and want to do business with you. But if you don't have any social authority or no way of anyone knowing who the hell you are, no one's going to do business with you and no one's going to trust you.
Exactly, man. You know, I started that from you know, Russell Brunson Expert Secrets, essentially having authority, right? So like that's another thing that's why I got into YouTube as well, just trying to get my hand. Now that I'm, you know, like I wouldn't have done this in the beginning. In the beginning, all I did was focus on just prospecting, getting leads, you know, getting deals. Now I got a little more system.
Now you have
built
money in the
out.
pipeline. Yes. Now you start focused on the systems, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now just showing showing authority in the local market, essentially, right? So that's how I'm doing that, is through video. And that, yeah, so that's where I pretty much mixed in, you know, trying out different drinks monthly and then going over monthly market updates. So let's see how it goes.
And you get a little buzz while you're doing it. So, you know.
Exactly. That's the way I was looking at it. I was like, you know, worst case scenario, I get to try some new beers. I love beers, whatever.
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Tein, so we talked a lot about a lot of stuff. If you guys are just tuning in, please hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you just now tuning in, please replay this bad boy back, because we got a lot of stuff that we talked about: mindset, time management, systems, mentorship, but really a lot of mindset and follow-up, you know, do's and don'ts on getting and losing deals, right? Like just different things that work for him and different faults that he identified as a business owner that, you know, he wants to tell you guys that he did wrong. Because it's all about like helping each other grow. Like if we can learn by other people's mistakes and also the good things, that's what it's all about, right? Like why should we have to like work smarter, not harder? You get what I'm saying? So hashtag live. Yeah.
A lot of people just have analysis paralysis. Like all the information out there is, like, to be successful in whatever you do, it's already out there. It's just a matter of executing on it, right, and being consistent with it. And I've learned you need to know if you need to be able to do a delayed gratification in this business, because I mean, you're not going to get, you know, even a listing, for example, you're not going to get paid on that listing until 2-3 months later. Right? Like that's just the reality of it. And same thing with prospecting. I may establish a relationship with someone right now, but I won't be able to list them until one of my buddies.
12 months, it could be 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. One of my accountability partners, he just listed one of his longest follow-up ever, which was 15 months from initial touch, a cold lead, just a circle prospecting lead, 15 months. That's the longest. For me, the longest is about 7 to 8 months.
18 months, Erlinda. Remember Erlinda and Jersey?
Yeah, I remember
18
Erlinda.
months. She just closed one a couple months ago, or a month ago or something. 18 months she followed up with that lead.
Dude, and it's such a great feeling when you do something like that too, because it's like another thing. Like, oh wow, I just did it 15 months.
They all say Facebook leads are trash. No, you all just can't follow up. Like it comes down to your systems and your teams and your ability to be hungry every fucking day. Right?
He followed up with that person once a month. And then just so happens he just listed the other day. It's like 15 months in, man. A cold lead, and it's so interesting. So
you see
like,
how happy he gets, man, when you have systems and you follow up, bro, and you get wins. That's why we live for this shit, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like finally we have a process. We can predict our income. We can predict our future. We can predict our business. We know that our systems and our processes are working, and we can breathe easy. Yeah. Just knowing that if we rest on our process and continue to push forward and grow as an individual and business, and surround ourselves with successful people, get mentors, have time management, stay in good health, do good things, you will become successful. That is the secret.
Yeah,
now,
you gotta
I'm not as successful as I want to be, but that's kind of the formula, right? And each and every day, you and I, and I'm sure everyone else, each of us are working on each one of those parts to get better as an individual and as a person, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, every single thing you do in life, you got to invest something, right? Like, I mean, you got to invest in yourself, especially. So I can only, man, I've spent so much money on building this up here.
Nobody can take what's in there away.
Like so much money, bro. I mean, I'm pretty sure I paid like $1,000 some dollars for your course back in the days. I can't remember.
And he didn't even blink. All right.
Yeah.
He didn't even blink. I told him the price. He said, let's roll.
exactly. But
Because he
like
was
these are
ready
things
to
that took
take
me to
action.
another level. Each step,
Yeah.
man. Like my coaching program, $2,000 something, right? These are things like shit. Like, but then I look at it, my ROI on it has been literally like 200%.
Sure.
Like that's
Yeah.
like so like that's where people mess up is like you do like all the information is out there, but sometimes you do need someone to be able to guide you, kind of handhold you through the process, especially if you're new. This is my first entrepreneur job, like I was never an entrepreneur or anything like that. So but yeah, man. So anyone out there, just you got to invest in yourself, or if you can't invest in yourself, invest in others that can help you pretty much get to the next level.
That's what it's all
So
about, baby. Invest in yourself is the best investment you can make is in yourself. So I'm gonna wrap this up now. Tein, thank you so much. Is there anything else, a few little free tips or tricks you want to add here before we wrap this up? Kind of recap the thing.
yeah, stay disciplined. I mean, the tips are really if you're disciplined, you'll be successful. That's just reality at the end of the day. And as being independent contractors, as agents, people like to slack off, watch YouTube channels, whatever the case is. Like think about it, as I said in the beginning, how would your significant other or family member feel if they watched over you every single minute of the day? Would
Yep.
they be proud? Would they be proud of what you did? And that's kind of what changed my mentality was, all right, like there was things that I definitely could have done better to get, to make to make money for my wife, whatever the case is for my family.
Exactly.
So that's where you got to look at it and just make sure you have a strict schedule in place because again, it's delayed gratification. I didn't get my first listing when I moved to I didn't get my first listing in Virginia until 3 months in. So, and that's just the reality of
Pretty
it,
good.
right?
Yeah.
There's just people, and after that was just a snowball effect. It was a solid 3 months of meeting face to face with people, getting no's.
Because you're laying the seeds, right? Like you're laying it, but now
Yeah,
it's grown. Here you go.
yeah,
It's a powerful thing.
and it's so yeah, man, and it's so crazy if you think about it, because like 90% of the people, like I have about like 90% losses versus the actual wins, but all it takes is that small win. If I go out, see 20 people for the month, right? Like you set a goal, set 20 appointments, go on 20 appointments. Out of that 20 appointments, aim to get 2 to 3 people. That's it. Like it's not that difficult. And when you break it down to reverse engineering it, simplifying it, that was my first goal in the first year. 20 appointments a month. I hit it twice, and it's a little, you go on the face to face, and it's a snowball effect. You start winning 2, 3 listings a month. That's all it is.
Baby. Set your targets, baby. Where can people find you, Tein?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can find me on Facebook, Tein Hlwa, and you can also find me on Instagram, Tein Hlwa, and as well on YouTube. It's pretty much Tein Hlwa across the board. No one else has that name, so.
Tein, HLWA, right?
Yep, TEINHLWA. And if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I don't mind, helping out as much as I can. I've been
If you're
in
going to share the PDF with your little time management thing, and we can share it with
yeah, yeah. I'll put it in your comments.
comment below if you guys want that time management sheet that he uses for prospecting and setting appointments that he uses to discipline himself. Comment below if you all want that. We'll get that sent out to you. But yeah, man, it's all about investing in yourself, creating systems, operating procedures, marketing. But most importantly, you got to build this up first. You got to build this mindset up first, because all that other stuff comes after you get this right. Because doing all those tasks, you got to have that strong, because you're not going to be able to complete those things. Right? You got to be strong. So if you guys need anything, we're going to wrap this up. My name's Will. This is Tein. If you got anything, feel free to reach out. If you got found value, please comment below. Reach out. I'm here to help. If you guys need anything, if you need leads, you need systems, you need lead generation, you need follow-up, you need booked appointments, please reach out, massivemarketingpros.com. We have these lunch and learns every other Tuesday. I did this one outside the group today because I want to kind of promote Tein personally, and I want to show this to the masses. But I also want to let you guys know, if you guys do join the group, How to Virtualize Your Business to Get Clients Mastermind, we've got over 17, I think it's 17. It's a lot. It's like 17 segments already in there of how to build ads, how to create systems, messenger bots, anything, everything you need to do to learn how to generate clients in today's digital age. The group's for you guys. So, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, it's 100% free. So check it out. I'll drop the link. But that's it, Tein. Thank you so much, brother, for taking the time out of your busy day. And we look forward to helping you, see you grow your business even more. And you know how to reach me, bro. If you need anything, you just reach out, my friend. All right.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on. For anybody that's watching, Will definitely knows what he's doing with ads. I mean, I learned pretty much how to create ads through him for real estate. Still use it till this day. And you have other people that were successful doing the ad agency as well, right? So there's a ton of people crushing it. It's really a matter of your mindset. So, if anybody's out there that's watching and kind of over the fence of whether or not giving him a shot, highly recommend it.
Appreciate that, my friend. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this Lunch and Learn. We will see you in next week, actually, because this one was rescheduled. So we'll have one this following week again. So we'll see y'all soon, and have a great rest of your week, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
See ya.
Peace out.